welcome to the Missed Q. I'm your host, Ricky. With me is my co-host,
Jackie.
and
Heidi.
And together we are the Missed Q. Today we have Chris Riedel, local theater supporter, local actor, local everyman.
Oh,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We've been looking forward to having you on. We wanted to build up our rapport first before we got somebody like you on.
Oh, is that what you tell people when you cancel on them multiple times?
Yeah.
Oh, calling you out.
Save that for Anyway, thank you so much for being on. You have been a part of Grace Arts Live here in town for many years. Mm-hmm. So how many years has that been?
Well, I've been involved the last round about, 6-7 years? Something like that.
So you've had a love of theater since just then or before then?
Well, I've always had a love of theater from when I was a little kid on, but I never was involved in theater till about 6 or 7 years ago.
But now you've done a lot of shows with Grace Arts Live. Your son has done a lot of shows. He got into it first. So what was your introduction? How did you find out about Grace Arts Live?
My daughter actually did a show with Grace, 25 years ago. I think it was your first speaking role in a show. She did it. So, and I've known Grace and Ed peripherally for quite a long time, but actually I was looking for something to get my son involved in, and we were over, I think you guys talked about this a little bit, but I was over at a friend's house, and we went to see Sound of Music, and Stephanie was in it, and I remembered her in the show, and I went to a friend's house to a pool party, and she was there, and we started talking, and I said, yeah, I'm trying to find something to get my son into. We tried karate, we tried baseball, he just needs to find something, and she was the one that said, well, how about, they have these workshops, and we took him down, and he did Aladdin, and that was how we got involved. That was the start of it all. I had no intentions of doing anything like ever on the stage, ever.
Yeah, and then how'd you get roped in? I remember it.
Yeah, well, it was a Sunday afternoon. They were doing a kids show. It was Tom Sawyer, and for some reason, some of the older kids didn't want to do that show, so they were having a problem filling the cast. So I got a call from Lauren on a Sunday asking me if I wanted to do this little walk-on role. I wouldn't even be on the stage. I'm like, no. Well, it's no big deal. You won't even come on the stage. You have maybe 2 lines. And I said, okay, I'll do it. And I did the show. And then the final dress rehearsal, one of the parents kept saying, you need to ad-lib and do this and you need to do that. I kept telling her, shut up. Don't tell the director. I'm going to tell the director that you should be on this scene. I'm like, it was Katie Facey. And I said, no, don't tell her. And she did. And then we hadn't even rehearsed it. At the end of the last dress rehearsal, Lauren says, hey, Chris, in this scene, I want you to come up here and I want you to do this. Well, I never even rehearsed it. I've never been on stage. So I was petrified. And you would have thought that I was in this very important role that was, leading for an Oscar because I really, really got into it. I remember talking to Tom. Tom, what do I do? Do I sit like this? Do I do this? I took it really serious, and it was actually a lot of fun, and we got through that, and I thought that was going to be it. And then Grace called me about 2 weeks later, and she said, hey, we're doing Annie Get Your Gun, and I have this part. It's a small part.
It's always such a lie.
Yeah. For all of you out there that haven't done a show, do not trust Grace when she tells you things like this. She says, yeah, it's a small part. It's a small part, and I said, small part, no singing. No dancing. No singing, no dancing. Small part. There's a little pivotal role at the end, but it's a small part. I said, okay, I'll do it. It was 78 lines. And
exact.
I know. I went home and counted.
He sure did.
And then the opening number, I'm center stage in the middle of the song and dance. And I thought, at the first rehearsal, when she told me where I was standing, I'm like, no singing, no dancing, and there I was. It wasn't dancing, to be fair. It was choreography, but it wasn't dancing. And that was my first introduction to.
Well, you're a good mover.
Yes, you move.
Clear. That's clear.
That's move.
Hell of a mover.
He is a mover.
I do fall down every once in a while. Yeah.
So that was your first big role, was Annie Get Your Gun?
Yeah. That was Thrown to the Wolves.
I did that show with you.
Man.
Yeah, and I was hooked. I mean, it didn't. The first night on stage, when I delivered my first line and I got a laugh from the audience,
That was it.
that was it. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Oh,
You're like,
there
I'm
it
in.
is.
All right. I
I'm
like
in.
this. I like this. I like this. Yeah.
Sold.
It's the best. It really is.
Yeah, that is the best. That's the most fun thing to do is play a funny role.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and I feel like you do so many other things behind the scenes for the theater too.
Yes.
Like you're running projections, you're doing
Like before you even got on
marketing.
the
I
stage.
feel like,
Fundraising.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Fundraising.
I'm really techie, so Grace, I'm kind of Grace's tech person, and I help her with computer stuff. And I found out at this theater very early that you never make a suggestion because then you get put in charge of the
And they're like,
committee.
you'll be doing that now.
So I think I said something about, me and Lee Whitehead went to Phoenix to see Jim McCabe. They had moved there, and we went to see him in The Wizard of Oz, and I was blown away by their projections that they had and what they were doing in the tech. And
Yep.
and they took us backstage after the show, and we walked through, and they were showing us everything, and I was just, my jaw was dropped. And we got back, and I said, Grace, we got to get a projector. And she said, great, well, how are you going to raise the money for that? So I got put in charge of the
Fundraising committee.
I mean, that's usually how it works.
And hey, we got a projector.
Yeah, it was a pretty good.
And they even let you operate it.
They do.
How nice of them.
Have you even had to operate it and be in a show at the same time?
Actually, yes. What show that was? Elf.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, the first time we did Elf,
Really?
Yes.
I did projections, and then I would literally throw my headset down and run as fast as I could to the backstage, do my part, and then run
then go
up.
back.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
Yeah,
I love that.
it was fun. So I do that kind of stuff for her, and then I'm on the board, so I help with all that stuff.
Well, thank you for all your behind the scenes work.
Yes.
Yes. You actually do quite a bit. And
There's
you
a lot.
wear many hats. And you also reach out to the community for support, which is huge.
I do. I like to help promote. We just put on the video last night for Lou Gazzara and got that up and going and running an ad. So just trying to get people to know. It's amazing to me that how long this theater's been here and there's people that don't
Yeah.
that hear it. That just blows me away.
Still don't know yet.
Yeah, we're all about theater awareness here. So we're trying to do our part to get people to know about it. So Ian, your boy, has been in quite a bit of shows before you even got on.
Yeah. Yep. He's been in 50 shows and he's 13. That's pretty.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
Wow,
that's
yeah.
pretty good.
50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Bailey have been having a contest since they've known each other.
Yes.
And Ian was ahead of her, and then she'd be ahead of him, and they'd go back and forth. And she was really mad when he was ahead of her for a while. And then she got into high school, and that added even more shows. And so
Yes.
I don't know where they are right now. I think she's
what is
51,
Yeah, and I think,
maybe.
I think Ian's like 49 or.
They're very close right
Oh,
now.
man.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty serious stuff.
But for being 13, that's.
Well,
Yeah.
right.
I told one of the guys from the Formers that we were talking, and I said, Ian had been in 50 shows, and he was like, and I guess we don't even think about that, how lucky our kids are here, because in the
Right.
big city,
You-
you don't get an opportunity to be in 50 shows at that age.
Oh, no,
It's-
absolutely
It's too
not.
cutthroat. There's too much. There's too many, people doing it. So we're very fortunate in this community to have that.
Yes, we are. You've gotten to play some juicy roles by now. What has been the most meaningful to you?
Oh, well, hands down, playing Pilot in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been a dream since I was a little kid to play that part.
So tell us the story.
Well, when I was, I don't know, my first introduction to theater was through, back then there was no internet. We used an abacus for math, and we chiseled stone, and
Right.
so there was no way to hear new music other than the way I did it was my parents had a record collection, and my first introduction to music was their old records, and they had some musicals in there. They had Carousel, and they had Music Man, and I have to think a few other ones, and that was kind of my introduction to it. And then when I got a little older, my brother, I'm the youngest of 5, and the older kids were all out of the house. It was just me and my older brother, and I had him for a couple of years. So I looked up to him. He was the cool one. He was in high school, and he brought this album home, and it was Jesus Christ Superstar, and it was this brown album cover. I remember the album, and I just fell in love with it. And then the movie came out, and he brought the movie soundtrack home, and I listened to that day and night. I knew every part. I knew every line. I was in my room, alone with the music playing. I was pretending to be every part, singing every song. I mean, I knew I wanted to be Jesus. I wanted to be, Judas. I wanted to be all the parts. But then I particularly fell in love with the part of Pilate, and I've always, always, always wanted to do that.
Was it the intensity, the levels, what that character is going through?
Yes, and he's kind of a conflicted character because he's not really a bad guy, but he's put in a bad position, and he's forced to make this choice, and he knows going in what this choice is going to mean, and he has to make it, and he makes it anyway. So I think the confliction of that, and the gentleman that played him, Barry Dennen, was really, really good in the movie, and that's the part that I attached myself to for whatever reason, never thinking in a million years that 50 years later I would get to play it on stage.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Right.
when auditions were announced for that show, what went through your head immediately?
Oh, I told several people, I'm Pontius Pilate, and I will kill anybody.
Oh, yeah.
If someone else gets that part, I'm going to slit their throat.
Wow, from no, I'll
kill
never
them.
be on any stage. No, I won't be on
Dude.
stage
That
at
part
all.
is mine.
No
Wow.
one is taking it from me.
Nobody.
Good for you. It's a dream come true.
Yeah, that
Good
was a
to
dream
do
come
it.
true. When I saw the cast list, I was just,
I can only imagine.
yeah,
That's awesome.
it was really neat.
Well, I was super impressed by your performance.
Oh, yeah.
Especially right before you leave and you have your rock star moment.
Yes.
That was so much fun.
I'm like, dude, this is like an 80s rock concert that
So
we're
good.
listening to right now.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun. I had my whole life to prepare for it, so it
Right.
was,
Yeah.
it was probably my easiest role, but it was my most fun. I could do that show 1,000 times.
I still remember your face, like the first music rehearsal, our very first rehearsal, and you were just like a kid at Christmas. Like,
Yeah.
look at Chris. He's so happy.
Yes,
He knows every word, every song.
Well, I think the happiest thing that made me is just during that run in the rehearsals is seeing all the young kids that didn't know this music.
Right.
And they were like, but they love to be in any show, so they'll do it, right?
Sure.
And then to see them connect with it, and then to hear them singing the songs that I grew up with that I thought were just I just thought that was really neat how it introduced it to a whole new
Yeah.
set of people.
And it brings
Right.
those people in that normally would not have listened to that type of thing.
Right.
Right. They were surprised by it, I think.
Yeah, I think everybody got super into it.
Oh, yeah.
I was such an outsider because I just played King Herod, but
Yeah.
seeing everybody just get along so well in the cast, and when everybody loves the material, you can always tell.
Yeah, there was something special about that cast. I mean, you feel like that about every show, but there was something with how everybody clicked, and we all got shirts, and we all wore them, and we
did
all,
yeah.
yeah, it was neat.
It's one of the most fun I think I've ever had
Yeah.
with a cast. We're close.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, random parts that you played are just flying through my head right now.
There's so many.
And it's from the door, the gate to Oz. You were the.
Oh yes,
I was.
you
I was.
were.
That was
good.
a fun role.
You're such a good character actor. I think.
Well, it's fun. I had a friend come up to me after that show and say, I really want to just bag on you and make fun of you, but I just can't.
But I can't.
Dang it. But yeah, that was a fun role too.
So, since you and your son share this love of theater, I know you have traveled to see a ton of professional productions, both in regional touring companies, but also in New York City. So, I want to know like your highlights, like top 3 shows you've seen.
Hades Town.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I feel sorry for anybody that hasn't seen it with the original cast because every one of those people were irreplaceable, and now they're all gone. So I would be interested to see what it's like. But Hades Town, Miss Saigon, that show, and a funny story is Ian's first Broadway show at 6 years old was Miss Saigon,
Really?
and I remembered the show. I remember hearing about the show, but I'd never seen it. I knew it was about Vietnam, and I remember the helicopter, but I didn't know anything else about the show. And my daughter was getting married, and we were in San Francisco, and we checked into our hotel, and right across the street was the theater. We didn't even know it. And it was that night the show was playing, and I'm like, oh my God, we're going to go see the show. So I bought tickets, 4th row center, 2 hours before the show. We go in, no idea what to expect. And here's my 6-year-old little boy. And the curtains open, and it's in the middle of a brothel.
Yeah.
I was like the opening of the show.
Oh, my Lord. We were just like and so, of course, we're covering the eyes,
Right.
We covered his eyes for about 5 minutes, and then it was just like, okay.
What's the point? Yeah.
And it is what it is. So, yeah, that was his first show. and that's one of his favorite shows as well. That and probably
I'll bet. It would be my favorite show too.
and it's a beautiful show.
It is. Oh, the music in that show is just fantastic.
It's very stunning. And then we've seen Matilda in 3 different countries, so
Yeah.
that's another top
wow.
one.
So there's a lot that you gather from these experiences, and you kind of bring them back home and share them with the theater family here. And
Yeah,
sometimes, I mean, good things come from outside perspectives like that,
right.
like the projector.
Like the projector.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you make us feel incredibly jealous that you got to see all these shows. Or no,
Right.
just me.
Well, just,
You know,
no one else.
No one else
You,
is just
you
me.
go to ITF for like
Okay.
every year, so
That's true.
Yeah.
you jam pack it in.
Yeah, you just get it all in one weekend.
1 week.
1 week, sorry.
Have you been to ITF?
No.
No, why
Wait
not?
till your child gets
Yeah,
to high
when
school.
Ian gets a little older, I'm sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's ignorant of me.
So I know you've played many different types of roles, and you have already gotten to play one of your dream roles, which was Pontius Pilate. But do you have a dream role you haven't yet played?
Okay, a realistic dream role that I could play, or one that would be fun.
I want to hear both.
I want both.
So whatever.
Yeah.
Let's start with
Both.
the realistic.
Okay, the
one.
realistic one would be Hades from Hades. That is.
Yes.
Ah.
I don't know if I quite have the low range that he has, but that Patrick Page has. But I'm sure there's different ones.
Yeah, we can transpose stuff.
Yeah.
I say yes.
No, I know some people.
Yes.
That,
I mean, Carmen's pretty great. I'm sure she could figure it out.
yes,
Shout out to Carmen.
yes,
Yeah.
Carmen.
Gotta do our,
Carmen.
every episode we gotta do.
Shout out to Carmen.
Of course. How could you not shout out to Carmen?
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah, that would be I mean that the music in Hadestown. I mean, I could listen to that. It's unbelievable. And that role that's another one of those roles like Pilate that you just fall in love with. And yeah, so that would be the one. Now the unrealistic one would be the engineer in Miss Saigon. That would be. I mean, obviously, I don't meet the demographic for that.
Right. but
That I watched. I
Right.
watched John Briones play that part.
oh yeah,
In the 25th anniversary version of it, and I just
it's such a fun role.
oh my god, I couldn't imagine, but I think I missed my
I mean, sadly,
Well,
I'm going to agree with that. But maybe one day.
maybe one day.
yeah, I mean, anything's possible.
Are there any shows that you would love to see done here at Grace Arts?
Well, yeah, I mean, all those ones that we just mentioned would be great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Billy Elliot would have been a good one, and I know we've talked about it a couple times, because I thought that would be a great role for my son, but I think he's a little too old for that one too, as well. But that would be a great show to do.
It's another good story.
Great music,
Great music.
yeah.
So what else what's been memorable? You and I have done quite a few shows together, but for a long time, we were never physically
Right.
on stage together.
We might
Right.
be peripherally in a show. I had the most fun the second time doing Elf with you as Buddy. I mean, the scene where you came and sat on my lap, just it was funny, and we kept pushing the boundary on it.
Yeah.
Finally, because you get right in my face, and there was finally one where I just literally went, oh,
Yeah.
And
I went, oh, too much? Okay.
You're like,
that's the
that
line.
was the line. Yeah.
yeah. That was a lot of fun because we actually did get to do some parts together.
Yes. It's always nice to. That's why I like getting off book and just trying to figure out all the technical stuff you have to know for a show, and then you can really experiment with those nuances without it affecting your performance. I feel. I know you're the type of guy that I would be able to work with like that and not really mess up too much.
Right? Yeah. We pushed each other's boundaries. It
Yeah.
was fun.
Yeah.
We
it was
were
a lot
all
of
in
fun.
that show together.
We
were.
were.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Aw,
Fun.
it's fun.
Yeah. And the first time we did that's the only role that I've ever reprised.
Oh, yeah.
And the first time we did it, Ian was Michael, and that was so much fun because we actually had. I mean, we had a few shows on Oliver and a few other ones where we had dialogue, but that show was extra fun. I know his favorite part of that show when he was 7 was to get to call me an idiot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was the best part. So it was really fun the first time for that reason, but the second time I had a great time with Ricky. So
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, Chris and I have been on stage together many times, but we usually are just never in the same scene until we were. And now I think we were being punished and we don't get to be together
I don't
anymore.
think we'll ever be in a
We have
scene.
too much fun.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. The problem is
What was that show?
And there was Evita.
Evita. We're really funny.
We are hilarious, actually.
Now,
if you
other
guys
people don't
know.
necessarily. Yeah.
They don't get it.
No.
They don't realize.
Well, Grace doesn't get it. Grace does not think we're funny.
No matter how many times we tell her that we are.
We tell her.
And we even tell her why we're funny and what we did and said, and she still looks at us and shakes her head.
I think secretly she thinks we're funny.
She does.
She just
100%. She just isn't giving us roles together anymore, though.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a particular scene that we had nothing to do for 9 minutes.
Oh, you were in this scene, Ricky.
Oh, yes. Yes, and part of it was probably making fun of Ricky. It was probably...
Probably one of the things we were doing. It's like
poor
a
Ricky.
10-minute song. I mean,
Yes.
Was it one
Scene.
The bar scene when you're singing, what was the song where you were doing the... dun, 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 wasn't it?
the bar scene?
it was a bar scene. We're all sitting in the bar.
What show?
Evita.
Evita.
I made us. Oh, yes, I played Magaldi.
Yes.
Yes.
And we are sitting there
For 9
a
minutes.
lifetime
9
at
minutes.
that bar with no actual dialogue. I mean, fake dialogue, but no. We
I
just
do
sit there.
remember that.
And so we
Yeah.
entertained ourselves.
We did, and Grace said, "I can tell you guys are not fake. You guys are really having
That's real
conversations."
laughter.
That's real. Like,
So
yeah,
we're just really good at acting.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you've never been put in a scene since.
Together, no,
No,
Correct.
we have not.
no. I think it's intentional.
Probably. I'm going to just assume.
Well, we did make Jake wear break characters.
We did.
though.
I feel like we have to tell the story, and people at home, if you haven't heard it yet, will decide on your own if you think it's hilarious, which it is, or if you'll agree with Grace, who I think she turned and walked away from us, shaking her head.
She did. She shook her head
because we told her.
Yeah.
Been there.
Yes. Well, it started out just trying to come up with different things. We had little backstories. I think.
Yeah.
Were me and you?
No, I was with Lee,
Oh, that's right. You were
Yeah.
with Lee.
and you were with.
It was Bree's mom.
It was Bryn's mom.
Bryn's mom. not
Yes.
Bree. Yes.
So we had the four of us. We're like two couples at a table, and we came up with some backstories.
Yeah, we had backstories, and it just kept progressing.
And we didn't have glasses originally, and
That was a good part of our dialogue. Was we're at this bar. How come you can't get a drink here?
I mean, it's taking forever. They're
You
never
guys
gonna
had no prop glasses.
We had no prop glasses at first.
and we complained. That was kind of 4 minutes of our banter. Was complaining
Right,
about
yeah.
not being able to get a drink. Where's the glass?
Right.
You know?
Our bartender just keeps singing. You know, it's Jason Fallows. And he'd come over and he'd sit by us and then he'd sing and he'd go away. And we're like, where is our drink?
Yeah, yeah. And then I think last dress rehearsal,
We got glasses.
They finally got glasses. So was it opening night?
I don't know if it was opening night that you played your really clever joke.
Oh yes, it's very clever.
It's so clever.
Yeah. So we were.
think we're about to
There were-
hear why
it
they don't work together anymore.
Yeah.
Well, there's a build up to it.
Well, the build up
so,
is you're trying to make each other laugh, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're trying to. So the first night was, with our fake drink. What do they call the plastic that you put in the drink to make it look like it's
it was like the plastic film, like
make it look like there was
like a
no-
gel,
Yeah,
almost like a
gel.
light gel. Probably was. pieces of
And
white
she
gel.
says, "What are you drinking?" And I looked down at my glass and I said, "Scotch," because
There's
there's
Scotch tape holding it on.
And
Guys, it gets better.
That
and
is
so- and
beautiful.
so-
I mean, I've
she
laughed.
started laughing, and that was the stupidest thing we could possibly say.
But we
it
laughed for
was
a
funny.
good time on that.
So that was a good part of it. So of course you have to up your game,
Right.
right?
How
So-
do you,
Next
how do you
night-
level up from there?
How do you
So
indeed?
second night we go out and we're all thinking about what we're going to say and
Right.
all of our little banter, and she says, "So
What are you-
I said, "Aren't you going to ask me what I'm drinking?" And she said, "Oh yeah, what are you drinking?" And I said, "Scotch." And I had preset rocks
from outside.
from outside
in his
in the
pocket.
cup, and I went,
Oh, yeah, in the
Scotch on the rocks. When she looked in the and she lost it, and
lost
Jake Ware lost it.
He was standing behind us. I've never seen him really break like this on stage. He did. We all did.
Yeah.
Again, that might be why we're not allowed to be on stage together.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
it's
I'm not
funny,
gonna
but I
deny.
could also see how Grace would not find that.
Yeah.
She didn't think it was funny at all.
No, she didn't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. We think we got another "you guys" and walked away.
Well, she was probably dealing with my attitude.
Oh.
Was that the puffy shirt?
During that was the puffy shirt.
Yeah,
Oh, that was the puffy
That was
shirt.
the puffy shirt scene. So
Yeah. Well, between that and Cabaret,
We also got in trouble
we got in
during
trouble
that.
with Cabaret.
Yeah.
who were
We
you in
didn't-
Cabaret?
I was Max.
Yeah. We didn't actually act together in Cabaret,
No.
but we had fun.
Were you in like the party scene together or something?
No. Well, no. Most of our fun happened like backstage and behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
I see.
If
Is
people
this
only
where
knew.
people started writing on
This
the
is the show that people started writing behind on the backsides of the
Yes.
set pieces,
Which I thought was really neat because everybody kind of bonded and we had this
Well, we
little
wrote
thing.
nice things at first.
Mostly.
Mostly nice things.
Yeah, you
Quotes
got to
from
treat
the
it like a
show.
yearbook,
And it was.
It was.
For the most part.
but people take things out of hand.
Wow.
And
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Chris was actually very clever on
I was
his.
trying to come up because she played the madam, right?
Yeah. Well,
The
a lady of the night.
Lady of the
Okay, we
Night.
talk about you as the lady of the night
A
quite
lot.
often.
We sure
Is
do.
this a common thing for
It
you?
has come up a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And so her name was Fraulein Coast. So I was trying to come up with some graffiti to write. So I very cleverly wrote, Fraulein, Fraulein Coast likes it the most.
And it was on the
I thought it was
railing
clever.
of the stairs that I walk up. For the first scene that I enter, I come up the stairs and I enter through the bedroom of the.
Naturally.
Anyway, he didn't tell me ahead of time, and I didn't see it until I went, and that was the best part of seeing it for the first time. I was like, "Oh, you're funny," and then I later went and wrote something for him, and I don't know why, guys, that I thought this was so funny. I'm really dorky, and I came running out backstage, and I was like, "Oh,
so proud of herself."
I wrote something about you." Like giggling like a schoolgirl. And he was so excited to
I
go
couldn't
read it.
wait.
And then he was very disappointed. You want to tell him what I wrote?
It was very clever.
It was so clever. Well, I wanted to rhyme because you rhymed.
Yeah, you did have. And to be fair, Max is kind of hard to rhyme with.
It is. There's only so many things.
Max plays the sax. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
And,
I mean,
she was very proud.
I
of it.
was
And I think that
so-
made it funnier actually because of how stupid it was.
Yes.
Right.
You're welcome. I mean,
she
there
was
really-
the only one
there
laughing
really weren't a
about
lot
it.
of options, though.
No.
What do you
Well,
rhyme with
Facts.
Max?
Facts.
facts. I mean,
Facts.
sense of facts. Like, that's not funny.
Hacks. I don't know.
Facts.
Stacks.
But plays the sax is funny.
Blacks.
Yeah, so those are the main reasons why we're not allowed to be in scenes together.
Right.
I mean-
we're pretty sure.
So you've gotten to act with a lot of people, and I know Bill was actually a special person to act with for you.
Yeah, I mean, Bill and me go way back. We kind of knew each other peripherally in high school. We weren't like buddies, but we knew each other. And when it came time for whatever reason, our senior year, we were trying to find a buddy to buddy up with for dorm room, and we were both going to NAU. So we ended up partnering up, and we were roommates for about 6 months, and it didn't work out. But yeah,
Okay.
So
Okay.
it was like Felix and Oscar. One of us was extremely neat and anal, and the other one was a total slob.
We'll just let that.
We're going to let
Yes,
the
and
audience.
let the audience figure out who was who on that one. But yeah, yeah, and so we didn't quite see eye to eye
Sure.
on a few things, and we actually got into a physical.
Oh.
I'm probably one of the few people that Bill Weldon wanted to beat up.
Wow.
He's
Yeah.
a pretty easygoing
I
guy.
was like,
He's
yeah,
pretty- it takes
I
a lot
would
to make Bill
never.
mad.
Yeah.
So he grabbed me by the shirt collar and had me up against the wall, and that was about the time that we
Decided maybe different roommates
yeah.
was a
Yeah.
better idea.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Okay.
So, anyways, but we've been good friends for many, many, many years. And he got into theater, and I, always knew that he did theater, and I've seen him in shows. But so to be in shows with him, and we both have kids. We both have kids at an older age. We have younger kids that are the same age. So that kind of we connected there, and then all of a sudden we were doing shows together. So that's
So do you remember what the first show was that you guys got to do together?
Annie Get Your Gun.
Yeah, to get you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's the first show I did with him, and we had fun doing that together.
Yeah, that's
That
awesome.
was neat. And we've done a few. We did what's the other one? Last one we did together? Newsies.
Yeah.
We were Newsies together, so that was fun.
Newsies. I forgot about your Roosevelt.
Oh yes.
Oh, I have a Newsies story about
you
Chris.
do?
Good.
I do.
Oh, I can
Oh,
hardly
yeah.
I'm
wait.
so glad that you.
Okay.
I'm so glad that you brought up Newsies.
What a segue.
I mean,
I feel like
thank you for setting that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So I was not in Newsies. Bailey was. Obviously, many of my friends were. And I came to the end of a dress rehearsal one night.
Yes.
It was a dress rehearsal, not a show. But I was sitting in the audience, and I thought, cool, I'll watch this a little bit, see how it's going.
Yeah.
This is a scene where Chris is, where you
coming down the
You were
I was
coming down the
Roosevelt.
stairs as Roosevelt, and as he's coming down the stairs,
Get to the very last step at the bottom.
and his pants fall off
Yeah,
all the way
all
to
the
his
way
ankles.
to the ankle, to my ankles.
Oh,
I was,
And right
I was wearing
where I
underwear,
happened to be
thank you.
sitting,
Thank goodness.
actually, conveniently
Yes.
where I sat in the audience.
Yeah, that was my.
He needed some suspenders or something, right?
Yeah,
that you didn't have yet.
I didn't have suspenders.
Yeah.
And what happened was I was going down the steps, so they came down on the last step, and it was so narrow that I had to like take 2 steps to get down the stairs with my pants off,
And
so I
then
could bend
pull
over down
them
to the
back
ground and
on.
pull them all the way back up without breaking character and
Right,
continuing on.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dress rehearsal you take
Or
very
your
seriously,
back.
right?
Yeah.
Or so, anything. It was a
Yeah.
good. It was
So
a fun time.
I have a few nicknames.
He
because
does.
of that.
He has many nicknames, but Pants is now one of my new favorite nicknames for him that will last forever.
Yes, I get called pants
I
a
mean-
lot.
Pants,
yeah.
because he dropped his pants.
Interesting. And you know what? I feel like that's karma because you're a jokester on stage a little bit.
You think? No.
Oh, what? No, this guy. Scotch on the rock.
A little bit.
Scotch
A
on
little
the
bit.
rocks.
I don't know. If I had to do it a major scene with Chris, I might be nervous about it. The good thing is that he always knows his stuff.
Oh, he sure does.
So, but that's how
Meticulous.
confident he is that he knows it, that he just kind of just does what he wants sometimes. And it's always funny.
It's always
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we're funny.
I just
we're
feel
funny.
like you're
Well.
you're somebody that could throw me off if
Yeah.
you
Well,
really
I
wanted
threw
to.
Amy. I threw Amy off. The first time we did Elf, because we kept somehow Fred Flintstone came up as a character, and we started talking about if you ever can't get a song out of your head, you just sing the Flintstones. And so that just got to be a conversation. It was something that were talking about through the whole show. Well, she had a scene where she took a notepad and she was going to write a note, and she came out on stage, and I was up in the booth, and she came out on stage, and on the notepad I wrote "Yabba Dabba Doo." So when she picked the notepad up to see the note, it said, and I watched her, and she went, and she kept going. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I like to do. Oh shoot! Now Grace, knows.
You are never getting cast again.
The show. Oh well.
Ah, that's it.
This is never allowed near the props again.
That is a good joke, though. Let's see.
So you've run the projector. What else have you done backstage?
I've helped backstage with just backstage crew once or twice. That's not my favorite thing to do, but I'll do it if I'm needed.
You've been in the light booth a lot.
Doing projectors. I've never done spot. It's always been the projector when I'm up there. That's fun.
It's a unique perspective, I think. and
yeah.
we're gonna have some people, backstage tech people.
Yeah, and I think if people saw the backstage stuff and the stuff in the booth, there's insanity going on that
Oh,
people
there
don't
sure is.
realize. And I think in the booth, there's a lot of insanity going on. Backstage, while there's insanity going on, there's a lot of fun stuff that goes on backstage and just getting out onto the stage that people don't know. I think that's a good thing to share with people because when they see that thing with Bailey, the video with Bailey
So cool.
doing their little ritual
With
that
Kyle.
they did with Kyle.
Every night. before
Happened to
JC.
catch that on video of her going out on stage. People have no idea. They just they picture just you come out and you do your part.
Right. But that's what I was
Yeah.
talking about the other day about how much fun we have backstage right before going on with our family, just dancing at the overture.
Get your blood pumping.
Dancing in the
and-
overture.
Well, and what a nice way, like when we can catch those things on video to share. Because then, as an audience member who maybe, like for Jesus
They have
Christ
no
Superstar,
idea.
I just went to see it.
Right.
And I always wondered, I was like, man, what's happening? Because
Right
I
before they
know.
go
I'm like,
on.
what's
Yeah.
happening? Then seeing that, I was like,
That video is so cool.
That's
that
my
is
favorite backstage
amazing.
video.
Mine too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so while I was talking to you during JC about how much fun I have during the overture, and you're like, "Oh, I'm not back there for the overture," and I said, "Why don't you come back and stand where I am?" And that's when you got the video.
Yeah. I was in the overture backstage,
other
but I
side,
was
though.
on the other side.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm missing the fun side, so I came around to the other side,
You got to come to the fun side,
and I didn't know
changed
what made me
his-
pull my camera up, but you got to see a whole different thing.
right?
That's awesome. Well, thank you for capturing that moment, Chris.
That's cool.
We did a similar thing during Peter Pan during the I'm flying scene.
Oh.
It was all of the pirates ready to like do that massive scene change, and there's like Big Burke who's like super tall, and he was
Super
back
tall.
there dancing to I'm flying. And every night I was like, I need to catch this on video. I never did, but it was one thing where I was like, man, I wish I had that video because it was so fun to see the pirates like being silly
having
and goofy,
fun.
but yet standing there ready to move the set as soon as it was their time. It was great.
Well, and there's a balance because you have to
Yes.
be in your head to be ready to go on stage to do what you need to do. So you can't be screwing around.
Right.
No, you have
But,
to always be ready.
Yeah.
But you can keep yourself occupied while you're on standby.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Staying focused.
As long as you
but
are
yet-
focused and not seen
Yeah.
by the audience.
The fun
Yes.
the fun comes second.
Yes. So do you, Chris, have any like weird rituals or superstitions that you do like either before a show or during a show?
I am an over preparer.
Mm-hmm.
I think out of just sheer, because I haven't done this, as long as most people, out of sheer, fear, I over prepare. I mean, I'm the first one. I have the script usually. I've downloaded it off the internet. I found it on some,
Second the cast list
Dark-
comes out, you have the script, if not before.
yes. And I have it all highlighted and lined, and I have a procedure that I do with the audio. I find a video that I like at the cast, and I remove my section of the audio from my lines. And I mean, it's a whole process that I do.
Wow.
Yes. He also types his note cards.
Yes.
Types and
Yeah.
prints them out.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm like
Yeah.
really, really over prepared. And then it started out as necessity that I would, before I go on, I'm always, you'll see me off over by the drive-through at Wild Coffee with my phone out running my lines. And now I've gotten to the point to where even when I'm comfortable, it's now become a superstition where
If you
even
don't
though I'm
do it.
comfortable, I better go over there and do this because I've always done it and it's worked. So I'm afraid that if I didn't do it, that I would forget my lines.
Yeah.
Right.
That's probably my one ritual that I have.
Yeah.
Interesting. I always am afraid of that kind of approach because then I will like start overthinking and maybe freak myself out.
Oh, wow.
So like right before a show, I try to be just like, I run through the show once in my head for a while, but I don't know. I guess it depends on the role.
Yeah, I have to run my lines every single day, at least 5 or 6 times. I don't care what show I'm doing. And I do it all in my car. It's all
Yeah.
in my car while I'm driving.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have-
Well, like for Elf, that was difficult for me to run through in my head because it was
you have a lot.
2 hours of stuff that I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I don't even have time to sit here and do that. But for me, the lines weren't the issue. It was the energy level. And so I was more focused on getting pumped up for the energy and just being kind of light and fun and fancy free. I don't know. I blacked out during that whole show. I just was, it was a rush. It really was. Okay, Chris, if you could cast 2 characters that you've played in a buddy cop film, who would you choose to pair up?
That's a good question. I've never thought about that.
It's a little odd.
yes,
It's a little
a
odd.
little.
The girls don't like this question, but I'm going for it.
It's
I think it would have to be Inspector Kemp from Young Frankenstein. And the Ozian Guard from Wizard of Oz.
oh
Yes.
Yeah, so that would be almost like Pink Panther like.
Yeah.
yeah.
The guy with the German accent and the guy with the high pitched voice,
Yes.
bantering back and forth. I can almost picture that.
Oh my! and now I want to see it.
I love that. Yeah. See?
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
well,
It's not a bad.
He had a really good
question.
answer. I guess the question's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's exactly-
Inspector Kemp is my favorite.
Yes.
That was a good one. Actually, for The Wizard of Oz, did you ever have to deal with Toto at all?
No, I was backstage with Toto.
Okay, so have you ever had to work with any animals, anything like that?
Besides you, no.
That's why we love Chris.
Wow. Okay, now we get to it.
Wow. Have you ever gotten to eat on stage?
No.
No, you haven't lived, man.
Haven't.
No, I haven't got to eat a whole turkey like you did in
The chicken.
chicken.
but-
No.
Chocolate spaghetti, just you name it.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
been so much.
Yes.
As a father whose son is in theater and dance, what advice do you have to other fathers who are watching their sons start to get involved in those things?
Oh, just be supportive and be there for them, And that's really the whole reason why I got involved in theater was to be able to do something with my son. You know, I had a father that really I didn't have a really connection with, and so that was a really important thing for me, was to be able to be in stuff with him. And as he's gotten older, I don't think it's quite as important to him as it is to me.
Right.
You know, as a teenager, but I know that'll come back full circle. But just
yeah.
be involved and be supportive. You know, it would be very sad
Be
to me.
supportive.
Yeah, if you're not supportive of whatever it is your kid does.
Right.
Right.
You know, and if you get to be part of it, do it.
Yes. If you have a chance to be any part of it.
Yeah, even
be
if
part
it's
of their
not
lives.
on stage, if it's backstage. I mean, look at how many father-son, you know, things that this turned into with the theater. With you and your sons and you know, Ivan and there's others. I mean, it's,
Yeah, I mean, I know Ivan's really busting his hump to get on your level, because you've kind of made a name for yourself beyond just being Ian's dad.
Right.
well, thank
I
you.
will say that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ivan's not there yet, but
Poor Ivan.
just kidding.
Hey, Ivan got thrown to the wolves and he
As Kevin Rosario.
yes,
Yeah, I
His
know.
first show.
I
I
know.
mean, that was kind of like the same thing with me with my and
Yeah.
it's that trial by fire, and he's
Yeah.
taking it serious. You know, he's taking the dance classes, which
Yeah.
Oh, he's taking
I'm
it
not
very
doing.
seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. You came to, what was that, one
One
class?
tap
Yeah.
class, and we
Yeah.
never saw you again.
And
No,
suddenly-
because if I got any better at it, I would be doing tap numbers and shows.
That's true.
Yeah, see, he
Right.
knows.
That's why
He's
you
a mover.
should be
He's not a
doing it.
dancer.
I don't want.
It's in his contract. He will not dance
He
in
will
a show.
not dance in a show.
he moves.
He moves.
I moves.
You moves.
I moves. Yeah.
Chris, would you ever wear a dress on stage?
Oh,
Oh.
yeah, I'd wear a dress on stage. That wouldn't bother me. I mean, again, because it's about the laugh, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That would probably get a laugh.
Yeah.
I would wear a dress on stage way before I would come out in, you know, like
a diaper.
a diaper. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Exactly. I
I was picturing
think
you
that's
as
where
like
he was
maybe
going.
Cupid coming on stage.
that's a picture that's going to be ingrained in a few people's heads now. Thank you.
Oh, we have a whole fly team. You got,
Wait a minute. What are you saying? It
got-
takes a whole fly team to lift me?
you got Eddie back there jumping.
I just see it in my head.
I just hope that someone there needs to be like a picture randomly at a rehearsal that someone just puts somewhere where we're like randomly walking like down the ramp, and there's just a picture
picture
of Chris in a
Cupid
diaper.
in a diaper. Like with the bow and the arrow.
Yes.
Oh, it's
Yes.
gonna happen now.
I'm expecting a Valentine's card with that on it, please.
All right.
Oh my gosh. What's actually been your favorite thing that you've worn, like time period wise or anything like that?
Oh, well, Annie Get Your Gun was, I mean, I was wearing the actual costume of Chief, what was my part?
You were the
Running Bull?
Yeah, Sitting Bull.
sitting bull.
Sitting Bull, not running. He wasn't running, he was sitting,
was
but
sitting.
close. The suit, the costumes that I were wearing were actually ones from the Broadway show.
That's very cool.
Wow.
So that was really, really cool. Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. Otherwise, it seems like I'm always in a part where I'm wearing a suit.
Yes, you are the business.
I am the suit. I'm the
Suit
suit
guy.
a lot of times.
Sometimes your pants fall off.
And sometimes,
Well,
Okay.
sometimes they don't. You think they would
Pantsless
just
guy.
keep one pair and it would,
right.
be mine.
And
You
they, yeah,
think.
they are just Chris's pants.
Yeah, Chris's pants.
Okay. So suspenders or a belt?
Suspenders. Yeah.
All the way 100%. Me too.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a dress rehearsal where you forgot your black socks?
No. Forgot my line.
Okay, that's a big one.
That's a big one.
That's never been addressed. It's a rookie mistake. You always
so much trouble for
bring
that.
I wear
black
'em even-
socks.
just so I don't forget them. I wear them every day.
No matter what your costume is, you should just keep black socks in your theater bag.
Yeah,
Literally.
100%. Oh,
Literally.
You guys have a theater bag?
You don't?
You don't?
No.
You don't have a. I'm not surprised by that, but
I do. Well, I have a little basket that I'll
A
bring.
basket you bring
Yeah.
for shows.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
Sometimes.
Same thing.
You put socks in that, and then obviously all the makeup you guys need to put on and the hair product.
like I usually have
and the
extra
bobby
like
pins.
like tights in there. I have extra. You guys
I always have extra tights.
have
I
that?
have
No.
all kinds of different. There's all kinds of things that can go.
Well, and
wrong.
I feel like
you have
for-
to be prepared.
I feel like for you and I, not them, but for you
Right.
and I, oftentimes because we are adults in the shows, that teenagers and younger cast members sometimes need things,
They need
and
things
they
that
just
we have.
come to us and ask for it. So I
Yeah.
feel like I'm over prepared. Like I have my
hairspray.
theater bag, and then I have like my like
The extra.
Well, no
extra
wonder they
bag.
keep asking you.
But you always but you have to
You
have
enabler, you.
you have
Yeah.
to have bobby pins. Even if
Yeah.
you don't need them, someone's going to need them, and then you can save the day. And
Like-
hairspray, community hairspray.
Okay, I had an extra thing of makeup wipes during Peter Pan.
Oh, that's a lifesaver.
Between
there.
Captain Hook and Peter Pan herself, every night I would have one of them come over. Do you have those wipes? And I was like, here you go.
Right.
I just gave them to them every time. But again, it's in your theater
Kids
bag.
need to they'll figure it out, but they have to make their own theater bag. And apparently some adult men also.
Need to have a theater bag.
I'll try the theater bag. I'll see if
You can
that
throw some
helps
cough
me.
drops in there. Like there's things.
Yeah.
Obviously.
but
you
not
just
in
have to
costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I just like use Jake's bag of cough drops, and then like every third show I
Right.
do with Jake, I just
So-
bring a bag, and I'm like, here's for all
Yeah,
the
Lee,
cough
Lee's a
drops.
cough drop guy too. You always can go to Lee. for
Yeah.
cough
Yes, he
drops.
always has cough drops.
Have you ever had a super fast change?
Oh, again, Annie, get your gun. I had to change from a full headdress, costume, boots, to a formal headdress, 2-layer costume, different pants, boots, and it was. I think I had something like 35 seconds, and I ran off. I would run off stage. I got to know Mel very well. Because
And she probably got to know you really well.
she got to know me a little bit better than I got to know her because, it was literally walk off the stage, lift your hands up
Yeah.
while one person's pulling your shirt off,
Someone
another person's
else is
taking the
doing- yeah.
headdress.
It's a system.
She's pulling
It
my
is.
pants down. I'm kicking my boots off, and stepping. And I would step out of one
Into the other.
and she'd have the boots.
Yeah.
I would step into them.
She's such a good
Yeah.
quick changer.
She's amazing,
is.
quick changer.
She is.
And that was probably the most stressful thing. It almost made me not want to do a show ever again after that because I was just because of the
Yeah.
anxiety of what if I'm not ready, because that's our biggest fear, right? You don't want to walk out with your pants falling down. Imagine that.
Weird. Weird. Yeah.
And so that's very, very stressful. But other than that, Evita had a lot of quick changes.
yes.
Evita, I had like 14 changes, costume
Oh, wow.
changes, or
I know I had several, but I don't think I had that many.
it might have been 9. It was 14 scenes, maybe 9 costume changes, but it was
Wow.
really.
And that just makes you appreciate those shows where you're like, wait, I only have one costume?
It's
Right.
crazy.
right?
When,
You're like,
when you have
Amazing.
I
one,
don't have to change.
it's really weird. It's surreal.
Yeah. Because
This is-
that's half the reason why I'm so sweaty on stage sometimes when I get out there is because you're hustling so quickly.
To change your clothes.
Yeah.
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 Well, and that was a big eye opener for me because I've been lucky to get mostly. I mean, I've had shows where like even Max and Cabaret only had a few lines, but mostly lead parts. I think the only show that I was true ensemble was in Evita, and that show I worked the hardest I've ever worked in
Yes.
that show. And after doing that show,
Yes.
I had a
Ensembles
great
are-
appreciation for the ensemble because you feel like ego or whatever, you feel like as the lead you're carrying the show, but when you are actually doing ensemble, you realize that the ensemble carries
They
the
carry
show.
the show.
They do
They
all the heavy
hustle.
lifting. They
They-
do all the hard work.
Yeah.
Really.
yeah, they're
They do.
hustling.
Absolutely.
So
They're changing their clothes. They're in every scene.
Yes.
They're dancing.
They're moving set pieces.
They're moving set
like,
pieces.
yeah, I don't want to work that hard. That's
Right.
that's like a job.
So if
Right.
Chris ever demands lead only roles,
This is
not
why.
because of an ego, it's because of laziness.
It's
Lazy,
just, yeah.
total laziness. No, I ensemble's fine. I don't care. Small part, big part.
Yes.
I'm happy.
Well, it's cool to be a part of a story, especially like the classics. So, like Wizard of Oz, for instance, that's such a timeless story that everybody knows. So, when you
Right.
get to do a show like that, you're like, oh,
Yes.
this is cool. I watched this when I was
Yes.
a kid.
You get to be. I never thought you'd get to play that character on stage. It's neat.
And you get to retell that story to the new
the new,
generation.
yeah.
Right.
It's really awesome.
It's cool.
Are there any shows that you're like listening to currently?
How do
know-
you keep up with New Broadway?
Yeah.
Just Ian finds a lot of stuff and brings it to me.
Sure.
I'm actually not listening to. The last thing I listened to or watched was A Little Shop of Horrors. Obviously, you're always looking at the shows coming up
Right.
because you want to know what they are in case you get cast.
Right.
That show I really like. Heidi just sent me Anastasia yesterday, so I'm gonna watch that. Obviously, Annie. Everybody knows Annie. Spam a lot. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm actually not. I'm listening to a book on tape, which I've never done before. And I didn't realize it's like 40 hours.
Oh,
to listen to a book on tape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is all I'm going to be doing for the next month. So that's kind of enveloped me. But Little Shop of Horrors is probably the latest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen to the upcoming shows. That's a
Yeah.
a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Now our show is called The Missed Cue. So we have a question. Have you ever missed a cue?
No.
Okay, well, I'll say on a previous episode, you were called out, and I think it's time your side of the story was told.
Yeah.
I feel like we should hear it from you.
Yes, I did miss a cue. Yes, I did. It was bad.
Please tell us.
Well, like I've said, I'm an over preparer, and it's because I don't want to mess up. And Wizard of Oz, the very your dual character, I was Uncle Henry the first act,
Right.
and then I was the Ozian in the second act. And the very beginning of that show moves very fast, a lot of quick scenes, and my character as Uncle Henry goes in and out a lot, like even multiple times in a scene, leaves,
Right.
comes back. And I have my little note cards, and I think it was on the second night of the show, I had walked on, I'd walked off, I'd walked on, and I literally, as I stepped off, I looked at my card, and for whatever reason, I looked and I said, oh, the next time I have to be on is the tornado scene. So I knew in my mind that I had time. And Josiah Barquette was standing on the back door, and we were celebrating and high-fiving me because how amazing we just did and how great we were. And we were laughing as we were walking up the stairs. And I get all the way, if you've never been backstage, if you're on stage right, when you go out the back door, you have to go up a ramp. And I went up the ramp and was all the way up on stage left. So I was a good, 10, 12 seconds away from where I would need to go back onto stage. But I had time. I had,
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm standing at the top of the stairs, and we have a monitor outside, and I hear, Henry Gale! and I could hear Allie saying, Henry Gale, and I'm like,
Again.
I don't remember that line being in the show. What?
Because you're an over preparer and you know all the. Yeah.
I'm like, why is she saying Henry Gale?
So weird.
That's-
Why is she saying
Did I just never hear that before? That she says my name when I'm not on stage? That's weird. And then I go, oh my God, I'm supposed to be on stage. And I take off running down the ramp. And now my head, you're panicking. Your heart's pumping. You're just, because again, you don't want to walk out and not know what to do. So I got to the wings. And now I blanked. I mean, I know everything, but my mind is blanked. I don't know what scene it was. I don't remember where I'm supposed to be. I don't remember what I'm supposed to say. And I'm standing in the wings, and I can see Allie dying on the stage
riding a bike?
in front of a crowd of people. Just, that's the worst thing you can do to somebody is leave them
On stage alone.
on stage alone. But I didn't know if I was going to walk out there. I didn't know what I was going to say because I didn't know where we were in the scene. So I stood there and
I just watched her
and I
ride in
just watched her
circles.
ride in circles on the bike. And just about the time I was, okay, I know where we are. And if I just would have walked out and said my next line, it would have been fine. But I didn't know where we were. And I just got it. And right as I was about to step out, she went, I don't know where he is. And she just rode off the stage to the other side. And I went, oh my God. Yeah. Oh man. That was it was horrifying.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for Allie, but she's a pro. If
Yeah.
someone would have done that to me, I don't know. I would die.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I've
Die
only-
on the stage.
yeah, literally. I had it happen once. Very minor. Ian actually.
Oh.
In Oliver had a quick change, and me and Lee White were on the stage, and he came out and we had a few little lines, and then he walked off, and the line literally was to tell him to go change because he was going to change into his nice clothes. So I literally was like, well, go change. So he goes off the stage to change, and then we get done with our dialogue, and there was a problem with the quick change.
Oh no.
But that wasn't that bad because it was
Right.
just like, well, where is that boy? Well, he must be taking a long time. You just add
Yeah.
a little bit.
That's an
you know.
easier ad lib.
Sure.
So that wasn't bad, but yeah, no,
Okay.
Was that the only time you were kind of affected by a missed cue, or was there
Anyone
another
else's missed cue?
I'm sure there's been a couple other minor ones, but nothing that horrible.
Nothing like Henry
Nothing like
Gale.
what Henry Gale. I'll hear that voice,
Right.
forever.
Hear it in your
It's just
nightmares.
gonna loop in your.
Yes.
Allie. When something like that happens and you're playing music, I just stop breathing, and I usually can't even look at the stage anymore. Like
Right,
when
'cause
someone
you're like,
drops a
what do I
line
do?
or someone's missing, I can't do anything to help. So I'm just like,
So
I can't
you were
make
back
till it's
there-
over, till it's over. Can't wait till it's over.
You were back there playing the music.
I was back there playing the music.
Well,
yes,
and-
watching Allie
And the,
riding.
the best thing is, and Grace talks about this all the time, if you mess up, don't let the audience know.
Right.
You know, and my
Right.
I'm
And you're like, the audience doesn't know I messed up.
well, the thing is,
But Grace does.
my brother, I said something to my brother. I said, "Oh my God, I can't believe I did that." He goes, "What did you do?" I go, "I was," and he had seen it on opening night, and he was back the next night, and I said, "Oh my God, I missed the whole scene." He goes, "You did?"
Yeah, didn't even notice.
So people in the audience don't
Yeah.
know. We know. Grace knows.
Oh, we know everything we did.
But if you just don't go, oh, you know,
Right, it's the
give it away. It's
reacting,
the
yeah.
reaction.
When I was in high school, somebody forgot their line and literally looked out at the audience and said, sorry.
no.
Stop. That is one of the first things we teach our kids
It
in the theater
sure
club.
is.
Like you never,
do not.
you don't apologize.
You don't tell the audience.
No.
Or go, oh,
I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh.
You're like, did that really just happen?
You can't do that.
Oh my gosh. Anything else for Mr.
Okay, I have a silly question. I don't know if it'll be good, but we'll try.
Okay.
If you had to be in one of these two shows, which would you pick? Cats? Or a puppeteer in Avenue Q?
I don't know what the second one is, but I would do that one in a heartbeat.
You don't know what Avenue Q is?
No, I do not.
It's basically like
Oh, it's
an adult Sesame Street, but the characters play the roles and do the puppets. Like
Oh, that would be fun.
Cats? Are
Cats,
you
I
kidding
would
me?
die.
Dude, if she
me.
did Cats again this year, I guarantee you would be in it.
I
No.
know.
I guarantee it.
He's a mover.
He's a mover. He'd be busted for
Okay, so-
Jones.
I guess if I was cast, that is the worst show.
You would be
I'm
busted
sorry.
for Jones.
I just was
dude.
thinking,
no.
man, I could totally see Chris and Kat.
Do you remember what was it, James Corbin?
That part?
Yes.
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 Oh, Lord.
I can see it.
That's the role
I feel
you
like
play.
Cats needs to come back for
I
that
think
reason right there.
Being in the show would be different, I guess,
Than having to watch it.
Sorry for the Cats lovers out there.
Yeah.
We went, the theater all got together, and we all went to see the last version of Cats, which was pretty.
Oh, the movie.
Remember when we all
Oh.
went?
Yes, that's right.
I didn't end up going.
Oh, a bunch of us all went. And it
Yeah.
was painful.
It was painful to watch.
That show is one song for 2.5 hours.
Yes.
I mean, agreed.
Well, I mean, you could say the same thing about other shows, but
Yeah, but
I'm all trying to defend Cats.
I'm like, are you
Why?
defending Cats
Stop.
right now?
No.
Yeah.
I know there's diehard fans out there, but
Yeah.
Trying to keep our fan base.
Right?
We probably should edit that out.
Yeah, maybe we'll just cut that. And it's fine.
I think it's funny.
Yes.
I think the funny thing is Chris's face when I said Cats.
I was like,
No.
Terror.
Whatever the other show is, that's what we'll do.
Right?
I was like,
I don't know
whatever
what
it
it
is.
is, I'll do
It's
it.
like those questions like A or B, and you're like B. I don't
B,
even need to hear
it's
it.
B.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I went.
You can answer before you even said it.
Right? It's, yeah.
My answer is B.
Okay, so if you could only listen to one cast album of a show for the rest of your life, but you could listen to it as many times as you want, what show would you pick?
One? It has to be one?
Yeah.
Only one.
Just one.
Gosh, it's a tie, but I mean, obviously, you know, my connection to JC, but I've listened to that my whole life. So
Right.
a different show would be Hades Town. That I mean that music is just it. Oh my God, it is just it's amazing. Second choice would be Miss Saigon, but yeah, definitely Hades Town. That music is just transcending.
Agreed.
Great.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Well, Chris, that's going to wrap it up for us today.
All right. Well, thank you guys for. I didn't say that at the beginning, but thank you for inviting me here.
I was wondering if you were thankful to be on or not.
Oh,
I've been
wow.
concerned.
I'm
for
in
This whole episode.
This whole
Ricky's
episode.
been
That's why. No
wondering.
wonder you've been.
He's been worried.
aloof.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, but thank you. It's been really neat. I'm really glad to be on the show.
Yeah, well, we're very happy to have you.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you very much.
Thank you for everything you do for the theater, not
Yes.
just your presence on stage, but all
Yeah.
the behind the scenes things.
It's a labor of love, so I don't need to be thanked.
Oh, I have a feeling we'll have you on again at some point in the future.
Well, I hope so.
And maybe
Yeah.
sometime Chris and I will be on stage together again.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe after
Maybe.
this.
Maybe.
After
Maybe
this
not
episode
after
goes out, probably not. Maybe not even cast in the same
Yeah,
show.
I might not even ever be on the show again.
Jeez.
Well,
Awesome. Well, thank you again. And until next time, remember, there is no excuse for Mr.
Mr.
Late
Late
Q.
Q.
Mr. Late Q?
who's he?
Who's he?
And just like that, we're at the end of another fun-filled episode of The Missed Q. We hope you loved the conversation as much as we did. Feel free to share your thoughts, ask questions, or simply say hi. We can't wait to hear from you.
Don't forget, you can always catch up on previous episodes and keep up with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. And we'd love for you to be a part of the Missed Q community.
A big thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in. Your support means the world to us. We'd appreciate it if you could subscribe, rate, and leave us a review.
Until we meet again, remember, there's no excuse for a missed or late cue.